the ongoing pandemics that existed, or rather the crises that were ongoing before COVID-19. This is something that is shocking to me because I honestly have to confess, I did not know this stat. Pollution, according to experts, kills at least 9 million people a year. Pollution, therefore, is responsible for more deaths than COVID-19. And this is on an annual basis. I'm sorry. I really feel like I've been in the know. I feel like I pay attention to the news, but I had no idea that the amount of death that was caused by pollution was so staggering. Pastor Galloway.
Well, this is you got to look at this both in a global sense and in the local sense. In the same place that we have this continued killing of unarmed Black men in this epidemic here in the Twin Cities area, now that we have just had to funeralize Amir Locke, we also have in that same area vastly different health outcomes pollutant wise in the Minneapolis area, especially in the north side of Minneapolis. And so there's the global numbers, right? And we're looking at spaces, with especially with high populations of folks in the denser pollutant areas, being as a part of this. But as you see on the screen, you know, there's a pollution of water, there's a pollution of air. There are the long-term effects of being exposed to small bits of dense metals over the course of time. And then we look at asthma rates and things like that amongst particularly communities who are connected to or near places of industry, which tend to be more affordable for folks who have higher risk. And so you see a combination of factors that are putting folks into extreme areas of exposure, even in the United States. So this continues to be an ongoing problem, and that it doesn't get as much attention as some of others that may seem a little bit more immediate or that may kill in shorter amounts of time. You may have years of pollution before the effect becomes real and then added to this number. So you also have the same lagging effect that I've heard you and other experts that have come onto your show talk about as well in this case.
You know, gentlemen, I'm reminded, and the two of you may be too young to remember this, but I remember way back when I was a child, and there was a commercial of a Native American brother, and they were showing folks throwing trash out, polluting Mother Earth. And all you could see is when he turns to the side, this tear come down.
Yeah.
Right. So even back then, we were understanding, you know, as you were alluding to, Pastor, the long-term impacts of it. So when I was a child, they were talking about the need to protect Mother Earth. And again, as we get inside this capitalistic society, and get inside a point where folks don't think about it to that degree, the long-term impact of it, we're seeing this exasperate. As an engineer, I was a mechanical engineer in Seattle, and I worked in wastewater treatment. And trust and believe, you know, when you start talking about urban planning, as you begin to get these cities and urban areas that now people are beginning to migrate to, and if the planning within those cities the infrastructure does not match it, you're going to have some very serious issues that will make this country look like a third world country. And what I'm speaking of in the case of wastewater treatment, if you have a wastewater treatment facility that is designated to handle only so many people, and all of a sudden you start getting this influx of population coming to that, and you haven't had the infrastructure to deal with it. Gentlemen, we all know that when you wake up in the morning, one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to go to the restroom. At night, there's a certain time that trend when everybody flushes. And if that wastewater treatment facility can only handle so much, the rest of it is going to the nearest body of water. That means that you're going to have raw sewage that is going to be pumped. You know, in this area I'm in now in Maryland, there's the Potomac River, and there's a wastewater treatment plant sitting right there on that river. If that treatment plant cannot handle the influx of raw sewage, and when I'm talking raw sewage, I think we all understand what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
It is going right into that river. And when I was in Seattle, there was Lake Washington, Elliott Bay, the likes. And they call it, you know, they call these infrastructure systems combined sewer overflows, which means combined, meaning they're taking wastewater from our homes, from businesses, but combined also they're taking rainwater. So heaven forbid you have a storm and now everybody's flushing at the same time, and that system cannot handle it. It is simply going to run over into the nearest body of water. And then where do you think all of that's going to ultimately end up? So, you know, our ability to address this issue of pollution and how devastating it is. There was a time in China where, you know, the Chinese were wearing masks all the time because their pollution, you know, once they understood the impact of coal or the benefits of coal without the devastating impact of air pollution. I mean, you couldn't even go to China and just walk around. And as we saw when COVID hit, you know, one of the most graphic scenes I saw was when they had a shot from outer space of showing how the air quality in China cleared up because now all of a sudden that country shut down and Mother Earth was able to heal herself. So this is a very real problem that we need to draw more attention to and more education to. And so Brother Dixon and Pastor, I'm so glad that we're talking about it today.
Brother Ben,
absolutely.
I'm curious.
Go ahead.
I'm curious, as you looked at the data, what is included in this 9 million? Just because I'm keenly aware that how pollution disrupts food supply spaces, right?
Yes.
So the garbage that we put in single-use plastics and things like that that are affecting the ecosystems are also having an effect in terms of hunger. And so I'm wondering if this report is only speaking to that which affects human body, you know, directly in terms of you know, those kinds of things, or if it also is inclusive of the hunger and famine things that are caused by our pollution as well.